So next on the agenda, first of all, I want to remind everyone to please fill out the pre-survey. If you haven't done so, please do it now. If you don't fill out the pre-survey, you won't receive CME credit and therefore won't be able to submit all of your expenses for reimbursement and tax purposes, for which you can talk to the next speaker. Mariam bin Ezzi, we are very grateful for your sponsorship. Mariam Ezzi is a certified public accountant, certified fraud examiner. She's been in practice for 18 plus years, managing many different types of businesses. She's a really good friend of mine. She's been managing my financials and my accounting for several years, so I can vouch for her. And we want to welcome her on the stage to speak about some accounting practices and her business.
You have your laptop also?
Open it up a little bit. Yeah. Hello. Came to Sagla. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome everybody, all the guests that have come from different states. I see a few familiar faces and some new ones, of course. I hope everybody has had a good stay here in Chicago. The weather has been good so far, so alhamdulillah. My name is Mariam Ezzi. Mufaddal Bhai just introduced me. I have been, just a little something about myself. I've been in the US since 1999. I came here to study, and I was told by my parents that the only school I can go to is where one of my friends was going. So I went to Northern Illinois University and decided to do accounting because that was their best program. That's how I became an accountant. After so many years, I completely love what I do, and but I didn't have any magical accounting skills to begin with. I actually wanted to be a doctor, so it was quite a switch. I don't have too much time, so I'll move forward. I've been practicing as a accounting professional, as a CPA, for more than 16 plus years now. I've been managing my own practice for more than 12 years. And one of the niche markets that I work with is the medical industry. Is it that way? Hi, can you move the slide? Not too many slides there. So one of the key things about the medical industry that I've seen in terms of accounting is that because the industry is so robust and there's so much more in your own profession, that trying to keep up with the accounting laws and accounting areas is very difficult, and that's why partnering with a proper CPA firm is quite a requirement, whether you are in the business of it, whether you own your own practice, or whether you are just a professional managing your income from a tax planning perspective. So that's where basically our firm comes in, and we assist from the very beginning in terms of tax planning, from an income standpoint, but then also in terms of accounting from a business standpoint. Other than the one other thing that the medical industry and the profession that I work with, and some of the doctors usually question is investments. And especially Apnama, that's one of the big questions. Where can I invest my money? And since there is a lot more money available to invest in this profession, I want to talk a little bit about the different retirement plan options, rental investments and how they relate to taxes, and some of the state education plans. Some of the retirement plans, some of the basic retirement plans are your 401k plan that you have at work. And the other plans are if you have SEP or other retirement plans. But no matter what retirement plan you have, the two key ones are either a defined contribution plan or a defined benefit plan. And the main difference between the defined contribution and a defined benefit plan is that a defined benefit plan is not tax deductible, which means if you're going to invest $20,000 in a defined benefit plan, you will not get a tax deduction right now, but when you actually retire, you can take that money tax-free. A defined contribution plan actually allows you to take the deduction right now when you invest the money in, but then when you retire, you would have to pay the tax on it. So making a decision whether you want to invest in a defined contribution versus a defined benefit plan is one of the key tax planning and investment planning objectives. A defined benefit plan would be, you must have heard of a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is a defined benefit plan. A defined contribution plan would be your typical 401k plans. A lot of practices also offer 401k plans with a Roth option. So just knowing what you're investing in. The other key point to note in retirement plans is from a Sharia perspective, retirement plans usually will have some sort of interest income, and you have to be very careful in what plans you are investing and what the plan options are. So from that perspective, a lot of mu'mineen will shy away from retirement plans, and then it doesn't leave much to invest in. So the question is, where do I invest my money? That's when we come to rental investments. Rental investments are the safest way to invest from a religious perspective, but also from a financial stability perspective. When you invest in rental properties or real estate, one of the key tax break that you get is if you invest in something which is, say, for $50,000. It's a property which is not very good. It's not in good condition. So when you do up that property or you work on that property before you sell it or before you rent it, all that can be written off in the same year. So that is one way that you can actually get a big tax break, and that's one way that you can invest your money in a property, in real estate, block your capital, save your capital, but at the same time get a huge tax break. So that's one of the key ways that we can invest our money in to be able to make sure, one, that we are in a halal investment, and then also be able to save our capital and make some money through investment and through tax savings. Some of the other areas that I get questions on is the state plans, the 509 education plans. These plans basically are state mandated plans, and these are the Bright Direction or the Bright Start programs that you must have heard of. And these give you a state credit when you invest money in these. These are basically education plans which block your money in a certain platform, where then you can only pull the money out for your kids' education. Again, another key thing to note though is that you cannot dictate your investment in these plans, which means that these plans could be filled with mutual funds and areas where you don't know where your money is going, which could relate to interest income, which could relate to any other income that you may not want to invest in. So being aware of that is also very important. Other than this, if you want to move to the other side. Other than this, if anybody has any questions with regards to tax planning, or investments. I'll just open it out to questions. As a resident, if you are investing, if you have a 401k plan and you do decide to put your money in a 401k plan, you need to consider a lot of employers now have quite flexibility in you deciding where you invest your money within the 401k plan. They usually have a portal you can choose the investments in, and they have a good platform where you can talk to the investment advisors or the HR related to your HR at your employer, and you can talk to them and ask them for help in deciding where you're investing. And if you have that leeway in where you're investing, then you could invest in the retirement plans. Other than that, I would say even as a resident, if you have good income coming in and you can put your money on the side, you could invest in real estate. Some smaller real estates would be a great investment, which you can then in a few years cash out on, buy your home once you're done with your residency, because the property would appreciate, plus at the same time you've sort of blocked your capital. So,
Mariam, thank you very much for that. I know that you have a sponsors table outside, I believe, and so I'm sure you'll be available for questions there. For the sake of time, though, we'd like to move on to the moment you've all been waiting for, coffee break. So everybody please